watching Service Electric 2 Sports, presented in high definition.
Showers bring May flowers, but April snows brings, who knows, hopefully some good lacrosse action here. We're live at Ulrich Sports Complex. I'm Breland Moore alongside Chris Wakely, who is the Associate Director of Athletics here at Lehigh University, and of course, the former head coach for Lehigh men's lacrosse. First off, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be a great matchup here today.
Yeah, how about this weather? This is unbelievable. Lacrosse in April is supposed to be a lot nicer than this.
Well, first off, let's talk about those Loyola Greyhounds. They enter the game ranked number 13 in the U.S. ILA poll, number 15 in the Cascade Maverick IL poll. They're 7-3 overall and 4-1 in the league, coached by head coach Charlie Toomey. They have a great lineup here.
Yeah, Charlie Toomey, a 1990 graduate of Loyola College, formerly Loyola College, Loyola University now, leading a great group of Greyhounds into the Lehigh Valley today. 2012 national champions, 2013 Patriot League champions. The Greyhounds are going to be up for a tough contest today against the Mountain Hawks of Lehigh.
And the Greyhounds have a special secret weapon on their lineup. Pat Spencer, All-American, coming in here to Ulrich Sports Complex. He's going to be a phenomenal player here today.
Pat Spencer, one of the best attackmen in the country. Freshman, first-year attackman, first-year offensive powerhouse. He is the reigning offensive player of the week in the Patriot League, and it's certainly be a tough matchup here today for Lehigh.
Well, Lehigh is definitely not the underdog here today. Kevin Cassis's Mountain Hawks come in with a record of 6-4 overall, 4-2 in the Patriot League, and coming off a very good win at Boston University. You can't count these Mountain Hawks here today.
Yeah, Lehigh coming off an 8-7 win against BU last week. Great job finishing up that game. Coach Cassis, plenty of leadership experience with Team USA, former captain of Team USA, leading the Mountain Hawks here today.
We talked about Pat Spencer being an All-American for Loyola, but Lehigh also has an All-American on their roster in Trip Telesco.
Chip Telesco is an absolute beast. Is fourth in the country with caused turnovers this year with 4 a game. Is fourth in the country and has over 90 caused turnovers in his career, over 160 ground balls in his career. Chip Telesco, put the ball down, get it up and out.
Well, this is definitely going to be an interesting matchup here today. I think we're going to head up to the booth in just a few seconds to get out of this snowstorm here. But in just a few moments, we'll be back with the face-off here at Lehigh Loyola. We are back at Lehigh Loyola men's lacrosse here today. Once again, I'm Breland Moore alongside Chris Wakely, the Associate Athletic Director here at Lehigh University and the former head coach of Lehigh men's lacrosse. Chris, we're just about to get started here, and the snow is still just coming down.
You know, when we were doing the pregame out there on the field, the snow it's heavy and it's wet, and it's going to be a long day for both teams.
Well, there the starting lineup for the Loyola Greyhounds entering the game here at 7-3 overall, 4-1 in the league. We can see, of course, Pat Spencer, who we talked about a little bit before, is starting once again for Loyola. This is going to be a great game.
Yeah, Spencer will be the one we're going to have to really, Lehigh's going to have to take a careful look at all game today.
And this is the Mountain Hawks roster here today for the starting lineup. We see, of course, Trip Telesco, who carried out the flag, which is, you said, a great honor for to carry out for Lehigh.
Yeah, a single player each game gets the honor of carrying out the Lehigh flag, and it was Trip's honor today.
Well, we are just about to get started here. We have a great game here today, and I see the crowd is starting to come in, but you can't see anybody's actual head. Everyone is covered up with umbrellas or hats or their hoods. It's not their first rodeo.
No, not at all. Both parents, both sets of parents, both crowds, both fans are very, very well educated on lacrosse in April for Division I lacrosse. You have to dress warm, dress dry.
Alrighty, well, we're just about to get started here. It looks as though we're going to have Graham Savio on the face-off for Loyola. I'm excited to see this. This is obviously Lehigh comes in here never having a win over the Greyhounds, but there's a first time definitely for everything, and you said Kevin Cassis is very experienced at the upset. 17
times Coach Cassis has beaten a ranked team, national ranked team, so hopefully today's another example.
Well, we're just about to get started, and Loyola, it appears, wins the opening possession, bringing it down into the zone. Now, of course, the referees for today, we have them sitting here, Pete Weaver, John Tuttle, and Jim Chieka. So we'll see, it's going to be an interesting game as the clock just starts to get going here.
In a day like today with these weather conditions, it's going to take the offense a little bit of time to get warm and get settled into the game. I imagine both teams in their first couple possessions get the ball around a couple times, everyone get a touch, get settled into the flow.
Now, we talked about this a little bit. You've only played once, I believe, in snow, and you said it was back in high school. So how difficult is it for the offense to kind of maneuver around this wet snow here?
Well, with this is driving snow today, so that driving snow is going to be going into the eyes of the players. So that's going to require a little bit of adjustment. But in terms of staying warm, once they get going, they'll be able to stay warm. But then once the pockets of their sticks get wet, the ball will tend to fly out of their pocket. So we may see a lot of turnovers here today.
That was Reed Weber taking it down into the zone and passing it off to Billy Oppenheimer, who's looking, of course, to connect somewhere else. So I definitely believe that we're going to see a little bit of a slow start for both of these teams here as they try to adjust to this really wet, sticky snow that's also really just disgusting out here.
Yeah, you saw Loyola's first offensive possession. He got it around a little bit, everyone touched, and he got one guy had to go to the goal, and then now it's Lehigh's turn.
It's 13:28 left on the clock here, obviously very early in the game in the first quarter, as Lehigh just kind of tries to work their way in here. Alex Eaton with the ball now, and he connects to Matt Raposo, and Matt just kind of taking his time, trying to figure things out, and he is driving to the net, but will pass off, and will we get a goal here? No. And Loyola will try to bring it out here. Now, we talked a little bit about Loyola and Lehigh's history. The first time that these two faced off against each other was in 1942. Loyola took a 12-1 victory over the Mountain Hawks. This is definitely a very old and very storied matchup here today. Very historic. Both programs very historic, and this rivalry has really, once Loyola joined the Patriot League, has really heated up. Loyola is 10-0 in the series here. But of course, we talked about Kevin Cassis. No, don't ever count him out here. We're going to get a whistle. And I believe, is that Lehigh's ball coming out? I could not see. Definitely getting some pushback from the fans. We can hear it from the booth here. Looks like Lehigh will serve a 30-second technical foul. And we're gonna see the replay here. And it looks as though it's going to be on Casey Eidenshank. 30 seconds and you're absolutely right, Lehigh will serve a 30-second penalty. So Lehigh is now man down, and it is Loyola's ball. That's they got Casey Eidenshank for interference. She's trying to defend the two-man game of Loyola. And there it is. There's the first goal of the game, courtesy of Zach Haywires. He's a senior attackman, and he was the Patriot League preseason Offensive Player of the Year. So definitely a sharp shooter there for Loyola. Yeah, Loyola's filled with a lot of good, strong shooters on their offensive end of the field. Haywires is no different. That's his 56th shot of the year. Many of the offensive players for Loyola, put them in room and time, they are going to grip it and rip it, which he just did. 56 shots in a year is absolutely incredible for him. And that is, of course, his 12th goal of the season, excuse me. And the Greyhounds are up now 1-0, first on the board with 12:16 left to go in this first quarter. The face-off X has been a little bit of a challenge for Lehigh over the course of this year, but it's been a strength of Loyola's. They've won 70% of their face-offs in each of the last 3 games, and they've won 2 to start today's game. And here they come. They're going to try to work their way up the field. 12:05 left on the clock here for number 15, Loyola. And that'll be Brian Begley bringing it in for the Greyhounds, trying to find a connection, and he does. 11:42 left on the clock here. We haven't seen Pat Spencer touch the ball a heck of a whole lot so far. Early in the first quarter, 11:34 left. And of course, Lehigh's penalty did expire with the goal being scored. And they're just playing patiently. Brian Sherlock now with it. And he connects, and right back to Sherlock again. The offensive teams will be patient enough to find the matchup that they're looking for. And there's still plenty of time left. There's no rush at all to just charge at the net. They have plenty of time to make their plays. That's Zach Sirico winding his way in the back of the net, looking for a pass, and he finds one.
Anyone who was born and raised playing lacrosse in Baltimore, Maryland would tell you that Baltimore is sort of the mecca of lacrosse, where the skills are the most acute. A lot of these Loyola players from the state of Maryland, so their skills are going to be very good. They'll dodge, move the ball, look for good shots.
Davidson, Maryland is where Pat Spencer is from, and he currently has the ball. And we talked about him a lot earlier, All-American, of course. And definitely someone that Lehigh has to look out for as they turn over the ball, and that'll be Lehigh's ball. Craig Sheik bringing it down. And that's going to be no shot. Reed Weber tries to break through there, but good job by Loyola.
Great job by Chick putting that ball down, getting the ball up and out. A little transitional opportunity for Lehigh's offense. You want to get the ball into Reed Weber's stick because he's unafraid to catch it and go. Great check, great trail check by the Loyola defenseman.
We see some laundry on the field here. And I believe that's going to be Lehigh's ball in just a few seconds. 10:15 left on the clock here at Ulrich Sports Complex. It's still definitely gloomy and doomy out here as the Mountain Hawks get going. We're almost a third of the way through the first quarter.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think the players on either team here today have a choice. They can't complain away this weather. They're just going to have to deal with it and play through it.
Yeah, and I feel bad, but we talked earlier about, look at them out there. They're just in shorts and, pretty much T-shirts. But I guess if you're running around, you can stay warm. But I know standing on those sidelines at the beginning, I was not having it. So kudos to them for being out there in this.
Yeah, in the game of lacrosse, there's often very little sympathy for those that say they're cold.
That was Ian Strain connecting with Matt Raposo. And Raposo trying to evade his defender, who I believe, yes, that is in fact Jared Mintzlaff.
That's a couple times so far in the first two possessions that Matt Raposo has been matched up with the short stick. He's going to want to attack that all day as long as he gets it.
And is Lehigh going to lose possession? There's a loose ball there. There's a bit of a scramble, a little bit of a tussle going on, and we're going to get a whistle, and that will be Loyola's ball.
Lehigh fans thinking Manning took a dive, but the official said that Manning was pushed, which is a technical foul, turnover.
Loyola bringing it down into their zone. That was Zach Haywires receiving it and just kind of trying to evade Alex Eaton there. Plenty of time left on the clock, 9:05 to go here in the first quarter. Loyola is up 1-0 over the Mountain Hawks.
Loyola running their second midfield group for the first time here today.
PJ Brown and Ian Strain kind of going back and forth here.
Ian Strain, one of the few two-way middies left in Division I lacrosse. So much of Division I lacrosse now is specialized.
And that's Pat Spencer. We haven't seen much of him all day, and here he goes making some noise. 8:45 on the clock, and Pat Spencer will break through for the Greyhounds. It's 2-0 Loyola over Lehigh.
Pat Spencer creates a very difficult matchup for any defense. If you do not slide to him and leave the defender on an island, Pat Spencer's going to take that matchup. Big, strong, right-left attacking. He can get to the cage at will whenever he wants to. If you slide to him, he's going to share the ball and expose your defense on the backside.
19th goal of the season for Spencer as the Greyhounds now take a 2-0 lead. And we're going to get set on the face-off once again. Lehigh really needs to, as we talked about before and in previous games, Lehigh really needs to start winning things at the X.
Yeah, Coach Cassis has tried a lot of combinations so far this year at the face-off X. Not successful so far here today. Loyola's taking the first three face-offs.
And that's Brian Sherlock bringing it in.
Sherlock is not afraid to shoot. Once he gets his hands free, he's going to let it go.
Trip Telesco did do a good job there of pressuring him to kind of make a move and pass over to Spencer. But those two, I think, are going to cause a lot of trouble here for Kevin Cassis and the Mountain Hawks.
Well, Spencer at attack and Sherlock at the midfield really creates matchup problems for any defense.
Romar Dennis coming in, takes a shot, but just went wide. And I believe that's going to be Loyola's ball still. Yes.
On a shot when the ball goes out of bounds, the team that's nearest to the ball when and where it goes out will regain possession of the ball.
And that was Spencer bringing it back in for the Greyhounds. There's a little bit of a tussle going there, and of course, we're going to get the flag on that. And I believe that'll be a Lehigh penalty again. but we will see.
I think Matt Rimmel is going to get 30 seconds for a hold.
And yes, you are correct on that. So Lehigh will be man down for 30 seconds, and that was Matt Rimmel, the freshman defenseman from Londonderry, New Hampshire, serving the 30-second penalty.
Lehigh's man-down defense was able to defend the first extra man opportunity for the Greyhounds, a 30-second penalty earlier. Down again for 30 seconds.
Sherlock again, moving his way down, connects with Spencer. Spencer, no? We thought maybe that might have a nice connection, but Lehigh absolutely says no, and they're going to bring it down into their zone. 7:40 left on the clock here as Loyola still has a 2-0 lead. Lehigh needs to break on the board at some point. And that's Reed Weber working his way around the back of the net, trying to find someone to connect to.
Loyola University 0 for 2 on extra man today.
And Lehigh will take a timeout here with 7:23 left on the clock. Definitely still, we're going to come right back. There's definitely still a lot of lacrosse action here today. Don't move a muscle. We'll be right back with Lehigh Loyola. Welcome back to Lehigh Loyola Men's Lacrosse. I'm Breland Moore alongside of Chris Wakely, and we're just about to get going here today. If you're watching from the comfort of your couch, don't worry about it. We've got you covered here today. But next Saturday, if you want to make it out, April 16th is Community Day as Lehigh Mountain Hawks take on Cornell at 2:30 in Goodman Stadium in front of a nationally televised audience on CBS Sports Network. STX will have a fan zone set up, and Headstrong Foundation will be in attendance as well. It's also the first whiteout of the year, so wear your white shirts to the game. Tickets are only $5 for the general public and free for Lehigh students, faculty, and staff with your Lehigh ID. Purchase tickets in advance at lehightickets.com. I hope on April 16th we'll have a little bit better weather than we do right now, where it's snowing and very, very cold out. So they can play in Goodwin Stadium. This game was actually originally supposed to be in Goodwin Stadium, but was moved to Ulrich Sports Complex so they could play on the turf and not mess up that beautiful football field. Yeah,
well, with the snow, if there's any sort of snow accumulation, we have sort of drifters along the turf that we can take, run along the turf and remove the snow, but on the grass, we don't have those sort of conveniences, so that's why the game has changed.
It is also Alumni Day here, so there are probably about 100+ alums in attendance here for Lehigh Lacrosse as we get started here. 7:12 on the clock, and it's Lehigh's ball, and that's Reed Weber coming in with it. And Lehigh still scoreless in this game. Loyola up by 2. And that's Matt Raposo working his way around, and Reed Weber will take the shot, and that is a goal for Lehigh. Tristan Rye takes Lehigh on the board with the first goal of the game.
Tristan Rye, very slick around the crease. No one finishes better in Division I lacrosse than Tristan Rye. In fact, no one finishes better in any level of lacrosse as effectively as Tristan Rye does. Over 60% of the time he has the ball on the stick, it ends up in the back of the goal.
That's Rye's 25th goal of the year. What an incredible stat there for Tristan Rye. And it's 6:57 on the clock, and Lehigh now only trails by 1 as we head to the face-off X.
Lehigh's 0 for 3 at the face-off X. Ernst back out at the X. Lapel and strain on the wings.
We saw how important winning possessions are, and there's Lehigh's first possession of the game that was won. Matt Ernst taking that.
That's huge for Ernst. Face-off guys try to get into a rhythm, so the only way you can get into a rhythm is break the ice and get your first victory, build a little confidence, try to go on a run.
And Lehigh will be bringing it down past the center point and bring it into their zone. That's Ian Strain on the carry. And Reed Weber will receive. 6:25 on the clock here in the first quarter.
There he is again in the crease. They missed him. Tristan Rye slipping underneath the Loyola defense.
Rye is definitely a secret weapon there that Loyola really has to keep an eye out for here in this game. Billy Oppenheimer now trying to break through. 6:06 on the clock as Lehigh actually leads in shots 5-4, but Loyola obviously is leading on the scoreboard, and that's of course where it counts.
Coach Cassis doing a good job shuffling units here, making sure he gets short stick matchups that he likes.
Mastriani on the shot, and that is a beautiful goal by Ray Mastriani as Lehigh now ties it up 2-2 here with 5:47 left on the clock.
Short stick cuts and matches up against Ray Mastriani. Mastriani is 6'2", 195-pound midfielder, big, athletic, strong, and quick.
And that's his 6th goal of the season here, and absolutely beautiful, beautiful top shelf goal for Ray Mastriani.
Game tied 2-2, 5:47 left here in the first. Hopefully Matt Ernst has a little more confidence now that he got his first faceoff win. Strain and Chick on the wings for Lehigh.
And we will see, of course, as we mentioned before, the faceoff is incredibly crucial here. And Lehigh has just won their first. And we'll see what the turnout is in just a few seconds as they get set up. 5:47 on the clock, and that's going to be Loyola's possession. A little bit of a tussle there. Brian Begley on the carry.
As I mentioned before, Loyola in the last 3 contests that they've had have won over 70% of their faceoffs. Going into these last 3 games for Loyola, they're at about 55% faceoff success. So they're really on a roll, getting into a rhythm at the faceoff X over the last 3 or 4 games.
And that's definitely crucial for any lacrosse team to win the faceoffs, because if you don't have possession, you can't score. And that is a wonderful save, but of course that rebound gets Chris Kiernan there as Loyola goes up once again in this game, 3-2 here, and it looked as though the initial shot was taken by Zach Sirico, and then a very nice kind of rebound shot there by Zach Hairwires.
Yeah, Kiernan did a good job on the original shot, but it gave up a rebound. As goalie, you want to try to not only make the save, but make the possession as well. Ball get up in the air. Hairwires got it into a stick, put it in the back of the net.
Haywires is the preseason offensive player of the year as a senior attacker for Loyola, so of course, definitely a talented player there.
A rebound goal for each team here today. Tristan Rye, the offensive end for Lehigh. Haywires for Loyola.
And we shall see, and that's going to be Loyola's face-off once again. They are now 1 in 5. The Mountain Hawks are 1 in 5 for face-offs. Loyola has won 4 out of 5. 4:52 now in the first quarter of play. We're 2/3 of the way through, and Loyola has a 1-goal lead and are looking for a 4th here today. Brian Sherlock now.
Lehigh's defense is getting a heavy dose of Loyola's first midfield group. Coach Toomey likes the shooters that he has at the midfield. I think he regards his offensive attackmen as sort of quarterbacks of the offense. They make very rational decisions. They're middies. They just fly around and shoot the ball. We've seen that so far here in the first quarter.
Pat Spencer behind the net and Trip. We talked about that matchup before. Trip Telesco on Pat Spencer now. And 2 All-Americans going head-to-head. And Spencer takes the shot, but Chris Kiernan says no. And Lehigh will have possession now.
Great job by Kiernan. That ball is going to be passed through the Lehigh defense to the backside. Kiernan didn't have, was not opportunistic to make that catch. It would have been bad news for Lehigh's defense.
Mastriani brings it down the side and into the zone. And that's Billy Oppenheimer receiving and bringing it around the back of the net. Battling a little bit with Jack Harrigan.
Coach Cassis making a little bit of an adjustment, putting Oppenheimer on attack, switching him from midfield to attack. Matt Raposo taking his spot at the midfield.
3:32 on the clock in the first quarter. Lehigh trails by 1, but has possession, of course. And, very patient, no rush. You still have 3 whole quarters to go and you're only down by 1, so definitely some time to keep it in the playbook as Mastriani brings it in, battling a little bit again.
And both these teams score quite a few goals every game. Lehigh about 11 goals a game, Loyola about 10 goals a game, so there's a lot of game left. There's going to be a lot more goals scored.
And there's some laundry on the field once again, and I think we're going to get a Loyola call, so Lehigh will get the man up. And we'll see, I didn't exactly catch what that was, but, or who it was, rather.
It looks like Loyola's going to be serving a 30-second man down for a hold.
And that's going to be on Brian Begley. And Lehigh will get, of course, possession once again. Still in their zone. 2:56 on the clock in the first quarter. And Oppenheimer will start the Mountain Hawks off here.
Lehigh's extra man is successful about 50% of the time.
And there's a shot, but a very nice save. The shot, Alex Eaton taking it, but Loyola says no, and they're just absolutely driving down, and that's a goal. Very, very beautiful coast-to-coast play by Ryan Fournier, a junior defenseman out of Ottawa, Ontario. And Loyola now leads 4-2 with 2:36 on the clock here in the first quarter.
Fournier is not he's not shy to shoot. He had 2 goals against Bucknell, so you put him into space heading downfield with that 6-foot shaft of titanium. He's going to let it go, and you see here he just lets it go lower left-hand corner. Very difficult shot to save for any goal.
Absolutely. At the face-off X once again, and we'll see Lehigh, of course, only has won 1 of 6 of their face-offs so far, and we have talked over and over again about how crucial winning face-offs is and winning that possession. And we will see if they can do it again. 2:36 on the clock. Mountain Hawks trail by 2.
Coach Cassis putting 2 poles on the wings. Ernst does the face-off X, Telesco and Chick on the wings.
And of course, Loyola wins the face-off once again. Graham Sevilla just doing a very nice job there at the X. So far, so good.
Yeah, not only is he winning the move, he's winning it to himself, which gives him an easier opportunity to win the possession. Coach Cassis put 2 long sticks on the wings to try to create a ground ball chaos and then turnover with the long sticks, but Savio just handled the ball himself.
Spencer will take the shot, and it did a little tumble down, but of course is saved, and Lehigh now takes possession and works their way all the way down the field. It looks like that might be Ian Strain. Yes, it is. Coming it down and bringing it into the zone for the Mountain Hawks with 1:54 on the clock. Lehigh trails by 2 still in this opening quarter.
Both teams looking to push transition as often as they can. Try to get breaks off the saves of the goalies. Got middies and poles are breaking up quickly. The defenses really have to not fall asleep. They have to hustle into the hole, beat the ball into the hole, because both teams looking to run.
Mastriani connects with Eaton there, and Eaton will look for either the shot or the pass. He's going to drive in, and we'll see, and it looks Strain to Mastriani. 1:14 left on the clock here.
Lehigh would likely try to play for the last shot.
I would imagine at this point with just over a minute left to go. And there's, of course, no rush. There's only 2 goals difference, and we see how far and few that lacrosse goals are. You know, you can score 1 million in a quarter, and it can make a difference. So there's definitely no rush for the Mountain Hawks.
Yeah, the fun thing about lacrosse, it's still a game of runs. So either team, any team, going a 3-4 goal run before you even blink.
30 seconds on the clock, and as you said, it does appear as though they're going to try to get that last shot of the quarter.
Shot clock is on.
And that's Oppenheimer, and a save. And we're going to get a whistle. The crowd is very vocal here about this call.
There's a little bit of a discussion about the game clock relative to the shot clock. An Oppenheimer shot will count as a shot. It was a shot on goal, saved. That would reset the shot clock, but now I think they're questioning how much time is left on the game clock to end the quarter.
Jacob Stover in net for the Greyhounds so far. He's been doing a great job. Has 6 saves here today so far. 26 seconds on the clock remains in this first quarter. Loyola is still up by 2, and it looks as though Ian Strain will start us off in these last couple of seconds here. And he'll bring it in, and let's see if we can get that. It was Reed Weber on the shot, but of course Stover says no, and we're going to get another whistle.
Yeah, again, try to get that last shot.
Strain, and another save. 4.5 seconds on the clock, so I'm not sure if Loyola can make it up there, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. And that's going to be the score so far, 4-2 in this game as the end of one. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more action from Lehigh, Loyola Lacrosse. Welcome back. We finished the first quarter so far of this lacrosse game. Lehigh and Loyola going head-to-head. Loyola now leads 4-2 going into the second quarter. Now, of course, statistically, the Mountain Hawks are 0-2 after one quarter of play if they trail. But of course, there's plenty of time left on the clock to change that statistic.
Oh, absolutely. This game will, with both teams trying to get up and down, hopefully they're able to still get up and down, certainly in these weather conditions. That's the more fun style of lacrosse to play and style of lacrosse to watch. So if they are able to get up and down and take advantage of unsettled opportunities, this is not going to be a 4-2 game for long.
Now, the Patriot League standings are crucial at this time, and there's only a handful of games remaining left to go. Navy, of course, is in first place, locking up their playoff spot with 7-2 record overall, 5-1 in the league. Loyola is tied for second place at a record of 7-3 and 4-1, and Lehigh in fourth place with 6-4 overall, 4-2 in the league. Today is pretty crucial in terms of standings and locking up playoff spots.
Navy plays Colgate today at 3:30, and if Navy's able to win that game, Army West Point will make the Patriot League playoffs. Loyola will make the Patriot League playoffs. Lehigh will make the Patriot League playoffs. And if BU is able to beat Army West Point today, then BU will make the playoffs. So there's a lot at stake here today.
Army West Point and Boston University face off at 1 p.m. Lafayette goes against Holy Cross at 1 p.m. Of course, this game, Loyola at Lehigh, kicked off at 2 o'clock, and Navy and Colgate go head-to-head at 3:30. So very busy day in Patriot League action. And we'll get the opening face-off, and Lehigh will take possession of that. And that's Eddie Buhall bringing it down into the zone. And is he going to be able to take the shot? I don't think so. So that's going to be Reed Weber coming in to relieve Buhall.
Coach Cassie is doing another fine adjustment at the face-off X. Buhall on the wing, check at the X.
And Buhall did a wonderful job in terms when he came into the X during Navy and Boston, of course. So
Buhall, a highly recruited defenseman off of Long Island, Lynbrook, Long Island.
Lacrosse hotspot, of course. Long Island is always very well known for their lacrosse.
Bill Laley is a former high school teammate of mine, Lynbrook high school coach.
14-18 on the clock here. Lehigh still has possession, just taking their time, setting things up. The snow is actually lightening up here a little bit, which is probably good for both teams.
Feeling a little more like spring. Matt Raposo has a short stick matchup he wants behind the goal.
And Raposo trying to break through. And that may be I was going to say that might be a turnover here, but Lehigh with a nice recovery. Matt Raposo trying to defend, getting double teamed a little bit there, but Mastriani comes in and helps, and he'll bring it back into the zone for the Mountain Hawks. And that's Billy Oppenheimer.
Great play by Raposo, but that Lehigh possession, an extra Lehigh possession that they're enjoying right now is really the result of Rimmel.
Alex Eaton taking a bit of a tumble, and that'll be
and here they go.
Loyola's possession, and here we go. Down the center of the field is Brian Begley. And that's going to be a shot by Spencer, I believe, and it just went wide. And Lehigh will get possession of this ball.
The officials call that a pass.
And that's Trip Telesco. We talked about him quite a bit so far today. And we're going to... Lots of tumbling here today. I'm not sure if it's just them crashing into each other, if there's also a little bit of a slippery factor going on out there.
Looks like Lehigh's going to be man down once again.
And that's a shot courtesy of Jordan Germeshausen. Very nice mouthful there for Jordan to say. Yeah. Germeshausen.
Every once in a while you get one of those names during games.
And that's going to be Casey Eidenschenk once again getting called there. And Lehigh will, as you said, be man down.
Man down for a minute for a trip from Casey Eidenschenk.
12:55 on the clock. Lehigh trails by 2. It's 4-2 here in favor of the Greyhounds. And you said, speaking of the Greyhounds, Charlie Toomey, you guys played against each other, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a 90 grad of University of Virginia, and Charlie's a 90 grad of Loyola. So we played, we saw each other 4 years, each of our 4 years of school. Very good goalie, excellent goalie.
He's in his 11th season with the Greyhounds as they have possession. trying to break through here. And that's going to be a shot courtesy of Zach Haywires once again, but of course it goes out of bounds, but the Greyhounds will maintain possession. 12:26 on the clock, little less than 30 seconds to go on that Eidenschenk penalty, and Lehigh just has a little bit to go still to defend that man down. And they get possession, which is very nice. Ian Strain.
Loyola shot off the pipe. Good job of Lehigh getting the ball off the ground, start getting into the clearing game here.
10 seconds left to go on that penalty. So they're just gonna, they probably, at this point, will be in the clear. And yes, they are. Even strength now for the Mount Hawks.
Eddie Bullhall did a good job handling that Loyola pressure.
And that Strain bringing it in. Trying to find somebody to connect with on the right side of the field. 11:38 left to go in the second quarter. Now, if Lehigh would beat Loyola, it's their first ever, it would be their first ever win against the Greyhounds. And the Mountain Hawks would jump Loyola and move into third place in league standings. And of course, they could actually jump into second if Army would fall to Boston University. So it's pretty much anyone's game, besides, of course, Navy being dominant in the first place spot.
Yeah, and the Patriot League is wide open. There's so much parity within the league, and on any given day, anyone else can beat anyone. So, as I mentioned before.
And that's Reed Weber just absolutely firing it. And at 11:02, and that's Lehigh is now trailing just by 1. 4-3 on the board here as Reed Weber makes it pretty much a 1-goal game.
Reed Weber doing a great job getting his hands squaring up here against Huggins. You can see him putting that left foot in the ground and going as hard as he can, trying to get upfield. He does, hands free, shooting ball 5-hole. Tough, tough, tough shot for any goalie to save 5-hole. You got to either get your feet closed, get your hands down. It's a little too difficult to do.
Reed Weber, of course, leads statistically. I don't want to jinx it for him, but in terms of leading in statistics, he leads for the most hat tricks so far this year with 6. So it's definitely very early. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of Weber throughout the game.
Yeah, and when Reed Weber is successful in the field, he usually brings a lunch pail and a hard hat to the game, and he's the emotional leader for the team. So him doing well is good for Lehigh Lacrosse.
And we're going to get a stop of play as a Loyola player is down. I can't see exactly who that is. It looks as though is it Duffy?
That's quite a big hit there in the center of the field.
10:51 on the clock here, and we're definitely going to stop for a little bit. Yeah, and it is John Duffy, the freshman mid. And Andrew Petit was the one who gave him the hit, but he looks to be relatively okay.
There once was a day not too long ago when Coach Toomey and myself played where hits like that happened all over the place. Now the rules have changed, so I'm surprised that that Pettit's not going to be serving a penalty for that hit.
Oh, it was in fact Reed Weber who just scored that last Lehigh goal on the hit there.
And as I mentioned, hard hat and lunch pail, that's the way he plays.
He seems to be okay. He at least walked off the field and is, of course, Duffy is talking to the Loyola trainer right now, but he seems to be, relatively about his wit. So hopefully it was just kind of, the wind got knocked out of him or something.
Yeah, and I think Weber's hit was to the shoulder as opposed to the head or the neck. So I think you're right. I think he maybe had the wind knocked out of him, shooken up a little bit, but he's up off the bench now, walking around, getting some water. Looks like he's all right.
Yeah, and that's definitely, a hard thing to take is a hit that knocks the wind out. And you know what? Loyola making up for that little hit there. Jeff Chase coming in and just slamming it past Chris Kiernan for their 5th goal of the game. 10:29 on the clock, and Loyola once again takes that 2-goal lead.
Chase gets an advantage out of the substitution box. Gets himself free into Lehigh's defensive end. Eidenschenk didn't know to slide or stay.
And that was definitely a very nice goal by Chase, his 4th of the year so far.
And the snow picks up once again.
Once again. It's definitely coming in a little bit of a wave here. Once again, I'm Breedlyn Moore alongside Chris Wakely, who is the Associate Athletic Director here at Lehigh and the former head lacrosse coach for the men.
If the snow continues as it is, there may be a discussion about changing the color of the game ball from a white to orange so the goalies and everyone else can see it.
Which is, of course, very smart because a white ball in an all-white atmosphere is definitely not a good thing for either team. That's Eddie Buhal. That was just with the ball now as Lehigh tries to make their way down into their zone. 10:09 on the clock, so just a little bit, about a third of the way through this second quarter here. It's Lehigh trails now by 2 goals once again. Reed Weber. And he'll connect over to Matt Raposo. Now Lehigh is tied in shots with Loyola, 12-12 each, but of course, where it matters is on the scoreboard, and the Greyhounds have a 2-goal lead here.
9:41 left in the second quarter. Plenty of time, obviously.
And that's Mastriani.
When Lehigh's had the opportunity, both teams have had the opportunity to get the matchups they were looking for. They've had success. It's just a matter of being patient enough, avoid turnovers to get the ball into the hands of the matchups, see if you can get an advantage.
And that's Oppenheimer trying to work his way past, and he'll take the shot, but absolutely not, says Jacob Stover. And he's playing a very nice game here today with 7 saves so far.
It's 53% save percentage on the year. He's making a higher percentage of saves today than he's been making over the course of 2016.
8:56 on the clock here.
You would think Coach Toomey, as a former All-American goalie at Loyola, would always make sure he has a strong, well-coached goalie in between the pipes, which he does today.
I would imagine so. Jay Drapeau. Connecting with his teammate, and there's just, very patient, just waiting for those matchups, as you said before. Loyola's pretty much doing the same thing. And we'll see if they can potentially break through here from Lehigh's defense. And are we going to get a shot? Yes, we are. And that's going to be courtesy of John Duffy, who is just on the field with the wind knocked out of him just a little bit ago. He comes back into the game and scores for the Greyhounds to take a 6-3 lead.
Loyola's offense very methodical in that offensive possession, getting the ball around, getting a ball side cut from Duffy. Good feed from his teammate. Put the ball up by his ear so he can handle it well.
And that's his 3rd goal of the season for Duffy, as the Greyhounds take a 6-3 lead here.
Good job by Duffy running left, shooting back to his right. Makes it difficult for the goalie to step with him to make the save. Stuck that ball in the lower left-hand corner. Well done.
8:12 on the clock as we get set up once again for the face-off. And Lehigh now has won 3 of 10, searching for their 4th. Well, there's definitely a little bit of a scrum here. Are we going to get a whistle? Yes. And it's going to be Lehigh's possession, as the Mountain Hawks. Oh, and we're getting yet another whistle. Did I hear it? No? We're good to go.
Ernst would take it face-off win any way he can get it, whether it's a violation from Loyola or a flat-out win by himself.
That's the way you have to do it. Ian Strain connecting over with Brady Thompson. And that's Billy Oppenheimer down the right side of the field, bringing it in. And that looks, yes, that's Reed Weber behind.
Weber's got Huggins
and
cut
he's
up.
going to take the shot, and that's his 2nd of the day. Reed Weber with 2 now as Lehigh moves to a 2-goal deficit. 6-4 now on the clock, on the scoreboard, with 7:33 to go on the clock.
Reed Weber had Huggins caught up. Weber at X, Huggins top of the crease. Defenseman picks one side, Weber goes the other way. Low backhanded shot. That's 6-4.
Absolutely, and that's his 27th goal of the season so far for Reed Weber. And like I said before, he leads the team in hat tricks with 6 so far this season. I don't want to jinx anything, as I said before, but 1 goal away from getting his 7th. And there's plenty of time left on the clock, 7:33 just in the second quarter. Maybe we'll see us, lucky number 7 for Reed Weber.
Well, Weber or somebody else, Lehigh's got to continue scoring.
Absolutely.
2 face-off wins for Lehigh back-to-back.
The snow is definitely starting to pick up, and I'm sure, as you had said before, they might consider talking about switching the color of the game ball.
Now, the rule is both coaches have to agree, but with trainers on site, if it becomes a safety issue for the players, the trainers can make that call. I know Coach Cassis has a collection of orange balls if needed for today.
7:05 on the clock here to go. It's Lehigh trails once again by 2 goals. And that's Oppenheimer behind, and he'll connect with Alex Eaton. And Eaton just playing patient, seeing what he's got.
Looks like Loyola just dropped into a zone on their defensive end.
Mastriani and Oppenheimer. Raposo back to Oppenheimer. And Oppenheimer to Mastriani. Playing very patient, just trying to get some space there. 6:33 on the board. And will we get a shot? Oppenheimer shoots. Yes, he does, but it goes over the top of the net and out. But Lehigh will maintain possession.
Great job by the offensive Lehigh to carry and throw back. Reed Weber carried the Loyola defender.
And that's another Lehigh goal as they now move it to 5. And I believe that was Matt Raposo. Absolutely, with his 15th goal of the season here today and his first of the game.
Loyola's defense has been short-sticking Matt Raposo all day, but against Loyola's zone here, Matt does a good job slipping in the back door there, getting the ball out of stick quickly, so Loyola's goalie couldn't adjust to it. Loyola went to his own defense. Lehigh did a good job. They had 2 really good looks at the cage. I wonder if Coach Toomey sticks with the zone after this faceoff.
6:15 on the clock. 6:15 left to go before halftime. So Lehigh has plenty of time to even this game up before the half is over. And they're going to get the possession once again. Reed Weber on fire today, 2 goals already with the ball.
You can see the energy of the game is starting to be taken away from Loyola and given to Lehigh with these faceoff wins and these goals. Lehigh chipping away at that lead now down a goal. 6-5, 5:45 left in the second.
It's incredibly crucial leading at the half. Lehigh is 6-1 so far for the season when they lead at halftime. So obviously you want that statistic on your side going into the locker room if you're Kevin Cassis.
Yeah, Lehigh has all the momentum right now. See if they can continue to capitalize on it.
Mastriani driving it in, and he'll pass to Oppenheimer. And Oppenheimer dodging his way through. Reed Weber bringing it through onto the left side. 5:15 on the clock, so almost 2/3 of the way through, and that's going to be a shot, and just went wide, of course, Mastriani.
Loyola back to their man-to-man defense. They've had success with it over the course of the first half.
A little bit of a tumble as Loyola picks up possession. Coming down into their zone, no problem. That's Begley again on the carry. He's been doing a very nice job all game, and there's definitely some action, let's put it that way, going on in front of the crease there as Lehigh now gets possession.
Interference on Loyola, but you see how Loyola looks to run. The ball goes down on their defensive end of the field. They're looking to get the ball up and out and run to offense as quickly as they can. They've been doing it over the course of the first half.
I'm pretty sure that was a little bit of like a tackle almost going on in front of the crease there, but you know what? Girls lacrosse and men's lacrosse, it's just a little love tap, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, a defense doesn't want to allow the offense to have the ball in their sticks very long inside the crease, right, or near the crease. So it's sort of a war zone down there.
Raposo looking for options, and he finds one. Interesting line. Now we'll pass to Strain.
Loyola back to the man-to-man.
Absolutely. Alex Eaton and Oppenheimer going back and forth. And Strain receives on the right side of the field, or the left side of the field, excuse me. He'll bring it in. 4:13 left to go in this game, in this half of this game. And Lehigh only trails by a goal, so they can absolutely tie this up before this half is over.
It's your typical Patriot League matchup. Neither team's going to give up easily.
Oh, Matt Raposo goes to shoot, but the ball just falls out of his pocket, and Loyola will pick up the ball and bring it down into their zone. And I believe that's Jared Mintzlaff who was on the carry down into the Loyola offensive zone. Now, we had talked about that earlier, correct, about how slippery things could possibly be and how the snow presents a little bit of a challenge in terms of carrying the ball.
Yeah, Matt Raposo had a great opportunity there to catch it and rip it, but the ball, everyone's pocket right now is a little slick because it's wet. Looked like that ball just slipped out of Matt Raposo's stick.
3:18 left to go in this half of the game, and Loyola is on the attack. That's Brian Sherlock bringing it in, and he'll take the shot, but Kiernan gets possession of it and gives it to teammate Trip Telesko.
In one-goal games, neither team, neither coach wants to have any possession end in a turnover. So Sherlock got a little bit of an earful from Coach Toomey as he hustled off the field.
Ian Strain bringing it down.
And you want to be able to play loose and play wide open and carefree, but you also have to be aware that your decisions do matter. You don't want to squeeze your stick too much, but you want to be accountable for your decisions.
Almost 2:30 left to go in this half. And it's Lehigh's possession. Alex Eaton over to Mastriani. Lehigh does, as we have talked about before, just trails by 1 goal. However, the shots in this game are 17-14 in favor of the Mountain Hawks. So we'll see if they can connect on yet another one.
Both teams doing a good job of manipulating their lineups, their rotations of midfielders and poles.
Reed Weber sending it over to Billy Oppenheimer.
Both coaches realizing that they're going to need to have fresh legs in a 1-goal game in the fourth quarter. You don't want your guys to be tired in the fourth quarter. That's when they need to make the plays.
Less than 2 minutes to go in this half of the contest. And Lehigh still maintaining possession, just kind of waiting for that open shot, and we're going to have a whistle here. And that's going to be a timeout for the Mountain Hawks with 1:39 left to go. We're going to go to break really quickly, but when you come back, we'll have the last 2 minutes of this half here at Lehigh Loyola. Welcome back to Lehigh Loyola men's lacrosse with 1:39 left in the first half of this game. Lehigh only trails by 1 goal here at Ulrich Sports Complex. I'm your host, Breland Moore, alongside of Chris Wakely, who is the Associate Athletic Director here for the Mountain Hawks and is also the former head coach of Lehigh men's lacrosse. Now, if you're Kevin Cassis, obviously you want to play pretty careful in these last 1 minute and 39 seconds.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, the Loyola team likes to get easy offense through transition, so you want to be careful not to turn the ball over in this possession, putting the ball down in the middle of the field, because Loyola will get it up and out, but you definitely want to play for the last shot if you can. Find the matchups that you have and see if you can find the ball, get the ball inside of Tristan Rye, because nobody finishes better in the country than Tristan Rye.
We talked a lot about winning possession at the X here, and Lehigh has been doing a tremendous job this second quarter. They're now almost even. Loyola has won 7, Lehigh has won 6 of 13, so if they can win this here, that's pretty much anybody's game. It's 50-50.
Yeah, that's been the impetus of the turn and momentum here in the second quarters. Lehigh has been able to win some faceoffs, get the ball into their offensive end. Both teams have very good offensive players, so the team that's able to outpossess the other team is probably going to win this game.
Lehigh kicking things off. Alex Eaton now with possession, and he'll pass over. 1:30 officially left in this half of the contest, and Lehigh has possession. That's Matt Raposo trying to find way through. Reed Weber, 2 goals already today, by the way, for Weber, who has been doing a fantastic job.
And the first portion of this offensive possession for Lehigh is what they call dummy offense. I mean, they're trying to look like they're going to the cage to avoid the shot clock, but they're really not. They're going to work the ball down to about 45 seconds or so, and then really get into what they're looking to get into.
Imagine they're trying to also take the last shot of the game or the last shot of the quarter once again.
Shot clock is on. Their fake offense wasn't fake enough, I guess.
About 20 seconds left on the shot clock, 43 seconds left in this half. And Lehigh has to make a move now in the next 15 seconds or so, at least take 1 shot. Weber coming up the left side and bringing it in.
Reed Weber's never shy.
As we've seen today with 2 goals already under his belt.
Great job by Coach Cassis. Got the ball into the hands of Tristan Rye at about 3 yards from the cage.
And Weber picks it up, and Lehigh will maintain possession with 18 seconds left on the clock, and that was a beautiful goal by Mastriani as Lehigh ties this up with 16 seconds left to go in this half of the game.
Looks like Reed Weber on the assist to Mastriani. I'm sorry, it was not Reed Weber. I think it was Matt Raposa, but good job by the Lehigh offense, giving their offensive guys 2 very good looks at the cage in the final minute of the game. Well done by Coach Cassis. Well use of that last timeout.
And that's Mastriani's second goal of today and 7th for the season overall, as Lehigh now takes a tie game with 16.7 seconds left on the clock here. This is anybody's contest.
Both teams lining up defensively on the faceoff. Neither one wants to give up a fast break here in 16 seconds.
Absolutely not. And here we go. Once again, we talked about the faceoff X, and Lehigh is now almost tied. But Loyola, it seems,
Ernst violated, it jumped too soon. Plenty of time here for Loyola to get a goal.
And we're going to have a whistle and a timeout from the Greyhounds with just 11.1 seconds left to go here in this half. So definitely a little bit, I can't really tell if it's getting a lighter out or getting heavier, because it seems to be just a constant flow of white coming down.
Yeah, I think the snowflakes are turning into more rain than maybe sleet than white puffy snow. But out of this timeout, I will predict that Loyola is going to put the ball in the hand of Pat Spencer. Either start it in his hand or end it in his hands. He's one of the best attackers in the country. He's going to be influential out of this timeout for sure.
Absolutely. We talked about the Patriot League standings here coming into this game. Very, very crucial for both teams to kind of get some good luck going on in the standings here, as Navy obviously has clinched their playoff spot, 7-2 overall, 5-1 in the league. They're ready to go. They're going to the Patriot League playoffs, but at this point it's anyone's game. And with all of these games going on here today, Army West Point at Boston, we have Lafayette and Holy Cross facing off. We have this game, of course, Loyola at Lehigh, and then Colgate at Navy going on. And these standings are pretty much just anybody's game, so today is definitely crucial. Yeah,
every year the Patriot League is wide open. The teams are so well coached. There are a lot of athletes all over the league and a lot of playmakers all over the league. And we have a couple here today, as we mentioned. Pat Spencer, one of them for Loyola. They have many of them. Reed Weber making a difference here today. Mastriani making a difference here today. They're good athletes all over the field here today, and there's a lot of game left to be played.
And there's only a few games left to go, a handful of games left to be played in the regular season. Loyola will go at home for the next 2 games of their season. They'll have Boston on Friday, April 16th, and then close out their season against Army on the 22nd, while Lehigh has 2 non-conference contests. They go to Princeton on the 12th of April, and then host Cornell here on the 16th of April, and then close out their season at Bucknell on the 22nd. So very few contests here, and of course that lone Patriot League contest for the Mountain Hawks. 3 seconds left to go. Is Loyola going to get a shot off? And yes, Brian Sherlock taking that shot for Loyola, literally a buzzer beater. And the Greyhounds will take a 7-6 lead here going into locker rooms.
Yeah, I don't know if the officials have the ability to review that goal, see if that goal was if the shot was taken before the clock struck 0, but it was awfully close.
I feel like I'm watching Villanova, North Carolina here, but they're going to count it. And it's 7-6. Greyhounds going into halftime. Lehigh now trailing just by 1. And we'll be right back after this commercial break. Take a little bit of a look at the first half of this game. Welcome back. Lehigh Mountain Hawks Lacrosse is brought to you in part by Pepsi, Coordinated Health, Red Robin's Restaurants, Domino's, Service Electric Cable TV, and Easton Coach. Now we have just 3 minutes left to go in this halftime as we look. It's 7-6. Lehigh. Loyola is obviously winning here today, but we have a very exciting first half going on here as we take a look at Loyola Greyhounds. So far today, doing a very nice job here.
Yeah, Loyola just getting the ball around the horn, getting his hands free, room and time, letting it go.
Beautiful, beautiful goal. And that's, here's Pat Spencer, who we talked about in depth, getting himself on the board.
Yeah, if you don't support Pat Spencer, he's going to score on you.
And Zach Haywire's getting his second of the day here on this rebound goal, which was very, very nice look for him as well. And then, of course, Ryan Fournier coming in and just letting it go right there. And then we're going to end up with Jeff Chase firing away.
Getting advantage out of the box at the substitution box.
And then John Duffy, who was injured while on the ground, and then comes back and does this beautiful, beautiful job. And then, of course, Brian Sherlock with that buzzer beater goal to put the Greyhounds up by 1 going into the locker room. Now, Lehigh, of course, had their time as well, as Tristan Rye breaks onto the scoreboard first. And then this is Mastriani's goal. He had 2 so far this contest. Here's the first one, I would imagine. Yes, absolutely. And Reed Weber celebrating with him. And Reed Weber will get one of his own in just a few seconds here, of course, to make it 3 goals for Lehigh. And Weber also has 2 of today. And of course, Billy Oppenheimer setting him up for yet another one here. And Reed Weber is just 1 goal away from his 7th hat trick of the season so far. And of course, Matt Raposo getting on the board as well with this one. And here we go once again with Mastriani's 2nd to close out Lehigh's scoring for the first half. So definitely an interesting first 2 quarters of this game here. And we see some halftime statistics pretty even here so far in terms of scoring, but shots in favor of Lehigh 15-19, saves of course are in favor of Loyola 9-4, and we see that face-off there, and it's pretty even in consideration. Yeah,
that, like we said, the face-off X flopped or flipped. The first quarter was to the advantage of Loyola, second quarter to the advantage of Lehigh, but the key statistic there is saves. Loyola's goalie's on fire today.
Absolutely. And of course, that's Jacob Stover. He's a freshman goalkeeper, which is incredible for him. He's absolutely on fire today. And we'll see probably a lot more of him working his magic in the second half of this game. Obviously, we had talked about previously that this Patriot League is definitely so close, and here is the out-of-town scoreboard. Army West Point is leading Boston University 14-5 here. Lafayette, of course, falling to Holy Cross, and obviously both of those are finals. 6-11 for Lafayette, suffering a loss there. And Colgate and Navy still going to go head-to-head at 3:30. So they should be underway in just a few minutes.
So Boston University was not able to get a playoff spot by beating Army today. Army was able to take care of that contest.
And Boston, of course, their next game out is the Loyola Greyhounds. They'll travel to Maryland on the 16th of April. 25 seconds left to go here in this halftime, and both teams are trying to get themselves pumped up. They're in their huddles and they're ready to go going in here now. Lehigh does, of course, trail statistically at the half. They are 0-3 at halftime, but like we said before, Kevin Cassis can work some wonders and definitely get that upset.
Yeah, Coach Cassis and the Lehigh Lacrosse program does a really good job of maximizing the skill sets that they have on their roster, as does Coach Toomey with the Loyola Greyhounds. So this game looks like it's going to come down to the final minutes of the fourth quarter, where the ball is going to be in the hands of either team's playmakers to try to put the game away.
Now Loyola holds a 10-0 victory streak over the Mountain Hawks in their 10 meetings. The first one was in 1942, which was quite a little bit of time ago. But last year, of course, on February 28th, Lehigh traveled to Loyola and suffered an 11-8 loss against the Greyhounds. So they're searching for their very first victory over Loyola in program history.
And that game was tied 8-8 at the bottom half of the fourth quarter. Loyola was able to go on a 3-goal run to pull away. But you're right, forget the weather, forget anything else that's happening. Lehigh's just trying to get the first victory against the Greyhounds in the history of this matchup.
And Loyola will win the opening face-off for the second half, but Lehigh will get possession.
Tristan Rye almost had another chance to get a rebound goal.
Absolutely. And this game, of course, as we said before, was originally supposed to be at Goodman Stadium, but was moved because of the snow, which is kind of starting to lighten up. Not particularly. It's still coming down, but it looks a little less heavy than it did in the first half.
Yeah, no sympathy for anyone out here today that's afraid of a little wet, cold mid-April day.
4:19 on the clock, so plenty of time here in this third quarter as Lehigh maintains possession. Oppenheimer bringing it around, and Reed Weber grabs his 3rd of the day and his 7th hat trick of the season. We had just talked about that. I was hoping I would not jinx him, but of course Weber breaking through and grabbing that hat trick once again. He leads the Mountain Hawks with hat tricks at 7 now, and to even up the score, 7-7 apiece. Loyola and Lehigh are now tied in the early parts of this 3rd quarter.
Oppenheimer doing a good job recognizing as a matchup with the short stick.
Absolutely, and Weber just firing away.
Loyola's defense slides through the matchup, and Reed Weber slips down the backside of the defense. The most vulnerable part of a defense is the backside of their defense. Oppenheimer and Weber took advantage of it. Good job.
And we'll head right off to the face-off X once again, and we had talked a lot about that in depth. They completely turned themselves around, Lehigh did, in the 2nd quarter, winning 5 of 7, I believe, and they are now Loyola is now 9-15 overall in the face-offs, and Lehigh moves to 6-15.
That was a Division I Patriot League ground ball by Eddie Buhal coming in off the wing.
And Trip Telesco will be on the carry and bringing it up to center field and across into Lehigh's offensive zone. Absolutely. Like, Chris, you used to coach this wonderful Mountain Hawk squad. Well, not this Mountain Hawk squad exactly, but in one point in time, you know, as Kevin Cassis in the locker room when you're down by 1, coming into the 2nd half of the game, what do you say to your team to come out here and really kind of come out with a lot of momentum?
Not only down by 1, but down by 1 with a goal that was, in the eyes of Lehigh faithful, questionable. Loyola scored with 1 second left. Lehigh faithful would say that it didn't quite happen in the time allowed. So not only are you down a goal, but you're down a goal, and you're kind of frustrated by how that goal happened. So if I know Coach Cassis, he's telling his guys, let's just get the first one in the 2nd half. Let's right the ship here. Let's resettle everything back to where we need it to be. Get the first one in the 2nd half and reset everything and go from there. And
how important is it, in your opinion, to score that first half and really just come out with a bang and scoring the first goal of the 2nd half?
Well, again, considering the way the first half ended, it was hugely important. If Loyola got that first goal, then it really begins to compound pretty quickly. But Lehigh was able to do a good job of getting on the ball on the board first.
Loyola snapping up the Lehigh pass and bringing it up the center. And no, there's going to be a little bit of a tumble there. That's John Duffy again taking the tumble.
Oppenheimer did a good job dislodging the ball from Duffy, but he got a little bit of a push there too.
Jeff Chase bringing it across the field, now onto the right side of the field. 12:19 on the clock as the score is even at 7 apiece. Loyola trying to break through, kind of trying to deflate that Lehigh momentum that they got, coming out so quickly and getting that first goal. That's Romar Dennis with the ball, and he connects with Brian Sherlock, who did score that buzzer beater.
You don't see very many middies in Division I like Romar Dennis. 6'5", athletic, right, left, can shoot. All he wants is the hands free. He's looking to let it go.
And there's going to be a whistle, and it's Lehigh's ball.
Looked like there may have been a moving pick there.
Billy Oppenheimer just patiently waiting for an option.
Oppenheimer's played both attack and midfielder for Lehigh. Back to attack here today against the Greyhounds.
And he's matched up against Jack Kerrigan right now. Kerrigan just playing very patient defense, keeping his eye out.
Again, the sticks are going to be wet. Their hands are going to be a little, not frozen, but they're going to be a little chilly. So the execution of the passes and the catches could be a little challenging for the 4th quarter here,
Absolutely.
2nd half.
Absolutely. John Mihawk, Alex Eaton passing over to him. And Reed Weber, 3 goals already today, will receive and shoot. And that's going to be 4 for Weber here today. Incredible game. Oh, no, yes, it was indeed Reed Weber with his 4th goal of the game, and Lehigh takes the lead for the first time in this contest.
Reed Weber's never afraid. He's never shy. If he has the ball in his stick and he's got any sort of space between himself and his defender, he's going to attack that defender right away. Did a good job, kept the ball right-handed, squaring up, going hard left-handed upfield, getting shot off any way possible, trying to get it in the back of the goal. There he goes.
Now, last season, Weber had a high as well. 7 hat tricks for him last season. He was beat out by Dan Taylor, who now plays in the NLL with 9. He had 9 last season, and Reed Weber was right behind him with 7. Reed already has 7 in this contest with, of course, 3 more games to go in the regular season. So maybe he might beat out his record from last year. 10:48 on the clock here as Lehigh now takes the lead for the first time in this game, 8-7 in favor of the Mountain Hawks.
Looks like Ernst has done a good job figuring out the face-off X. Was able to win the move, but Loyola was able to win the ground ball. Loyola gets the possession.
And that, of course, is Duffy again, who we've seen a lot of so far today, and Pat Spencer and Trip Telesco. That matchup that we talked about previously was just going on back there in the back of the net.
Spencer being very patient over the course of the first 3 quarters here.
10:15 to go in the third quarter. We're a little over half, or a third of the way done with this third quarter already. Seems as though it's gone so quickly. And that is Pat Spencer, once again, the All-American, working his way around.
Lehigh switching on all picks on defense.
And that's Jack Drapeau with the shot, but absolutely not, says Chris Kiernan. 9:48 to go here. And the saves in this game, 10-5 now. Still in favor of Loyola and their freshman goaltender, Jacob Stover, but Kiernan is also doing a very nice job.
Well, now everything's going to be compounded. Every save is going to be compounded now. Every ground ball, every penalty, every goal, every shot. Getting into the bottom half of the third quarter, you'll be into the fourth quarter before you know it. First half statistics no longer matter.
Absolutely. And Lehigh working their way into their offensive zone. And the ball goes out, but it's still going to be Lehigh's possession. 9:11 on the clock here as Lehigh still leads by 1 goal, trying to make it a 2-goal lead as Billy Oppenheimer brings it in. Looking for that option. He finds one in Ian Strain. Alex Eaton now working his way back into the center of the field, trying to draw that defense out. Ian Strain now with it, bringing it through. And will he take the shot? No, he won't. He'll look for an option, trying to evade the Loyola defender, Oppenheimer.
Loyola's defense stepped into his zone, dropped into his zone only once so far here today.
Mastriani takes the shot, and he takes a little tumble. We're going to have a stoppage of play. It looked as though he just kind of fell, and it appears as though he's all right. He must have also gotten the wind knocked out of him again.
Mastriani's had a little bit of an Achilles strain over the course of the last couple games. He's walking a little gingerly right now, jogging.
And he'll come off
okay.
the field. Mastriani will come off the field here. And we'll see if he will be okay. 8:21 on the clock here as Raposo will work his way into the zone, and he'll pass over to Tristan Rye. And Billy Oppenheimer, who takes the shot, but of course Jacob Stover makes the save.
By Stover. Great save. I thought that was going to be a goal for Lehigh. Great little 2-man flip behind the cage. Oppenheimer got himself up above the goal line extended with his hands free. Stover just stood tall.
And Stover is playing phenomenally well, especially for a freshman goalkeeper. How many freshman goalkeepers do you see starting a game, this late in the season when things are very important?
Well, as the season gets longer and longer, the games get bigger and bigger. So you're right, it becomes a little more difficult for a freshman goalie. But he's, if I didn't know he was a freshman, I wouldn't know it.
Neither would I. 7:30 left on the clock here as Loyola now has possession. And they're going to bring it in. That is Sherlock.
Sherlock's going to let it go.
And it's a very nice shot there, but of course is stopped by Kiernan as Lehigh brings it all the way in. That's Ian Strain working his way past the center point of the field. And he'll let it off to Alex Eaton, who feeds it to Reed Weber.
Good transitional opportunity there for Lehigh, but Ian Strain plays both ends of the field, offense and defense, so I think he ran out of gas there a little bit. Otherwise, if his legs were fresh, that may have been a fast break for Lehigh.
We're nearing the 2/3 portion of this third quarter being completed, and Lehigh still has a 1-goal lead.
Mastriani back in, which is good news for Lehigh.
Absolutely. He's already scored twice so far in this contest. Strain. And Mastriani, as we talked about, just coming back in. He receives the ball and will pass it to Oppenheimer. Almost 6:30, a little under 6:30 left to go here. And Lehigh will try to take a shot here as they lose possession of the ball, but Ian Strain recovers. But is getting heavily pressured right now by Loyola. That's Jeff Chase trying to cause the turnover. But Lehigh holding strong.
As I mentioned, in conditions like this, it can get pretty sloppy pretty quickly. The snow is pounding into your eyes.
And that's a goal for the Mountain Hawks. Speaking of things getting a little sloppy there on Loyola's part, I believe that was John Mihawk who takes that goal. And it's 9-7. Oh, it is Billy Oppenheimer, excuse me.
Mihawk on the assist.
Absolutely. Who grabbed that goal. And it's 9-7 here with just a little over 5 minutes left to go.
If Ernst can continue to figure out the face-off X and Lehigh can continue to get some good wing play, or either team, Loyola the same. Whoever wins, whoever figures out the matchups at the X is really going to be advantaged over the last 5 minutes here in the third quarter.
That was Oppenheimer's first goal of today, 14th of the season, so he gets himself onto the scoreboard and gives the Mountain Hawks a 2-goal lead with 5:55 left to go in this third quarter. And we're going to be right back at the face-off X. And the action gets underway, and that will be, well, Loyola did have it, but Lehigh scoops up the ground ball.
Great ground ball by Apers.
And Oppenheimer, who just scored, is going to go driving at the net again, and he'll take the shot, but of course, Jacob Stover once again making the save. 5:35 now left on the clock as Lehigh brings it back in. Oppenheimer passing over to Raposo.
Coach Toomey making a matchup change on defense, putting Ryder Harkins on Reed Weber.
Now Loyola is nationally ranked in both polls. They're 13th in the US ILA poll and 15th in the Cascade Maverick IL poll. And Lehigh is looking for their second straight nationally ranked opponent win. That hasn't happened since April 7th and April 12th last year. They defeated number 14-18 Princeton and number 18-14 Stony Brook last season.
Matt Raposo coming upfield, had a good opportunity there. Running the shot off the crossbar.
And we are officially in the latter 1/3 of this third quarter here.
Coach Cassis has 17 victories over nationally ranked opponents in his career here at Lehigh, looking for his 18th here today.
Loyola with possession now as Dennis will work with Jeff Chase, and Chase will bring it over to the right side of the field. And Brian Sherlock will connect back with Dennis.
Here's a good matchup, Dennis against Mastriani.
And we'll see if Loyola can get a shot off here. That's Pat Spencer bringing it around to the front, but he'll send it back to Zach Haywires.
Spencer did a good job of splitting Chip Telesco behind. Great save there by Kiernan.
Absolutely, that was Dennis taking the shot, but Kiernan, of course, denying him. Once again, 3:49 on the clock here in the third period. We have Lehigh up by 2 goals, 9-7. And they had possession, but lost it, and I'm not sure. Yes, Lehigh will maintain possession.
Kiernan did a good job getting in position, seeing the ball. Not easy to see the ball in driving snow here today, especially a white ball against white snow, as we mentioned.
Reed Weber working with Alex Eaton there around center field. And Ray Mastriani, who had previously gone out of the game for a little bit, he's back in and doing quite well, it appears. Ian Strain.
So every possession matters now. You don't want to be conservative because you're afraid of making mistakes, but you do have to be accountable for the decisions you make. Try to find the matchups, try to take advantage of those matchups.
Absolutely. less than 3 minutes now on the clock in this game. Lehigh will maintain possession as it goes out of bounds. And we will see now Lehigh, if all goes well, and if they lead after these 3 quarters here, they are 4-0, leading after 3 quarters. So that is a very good sign for Kevin Cassis and his Mountain Hawk squad. But there's still plenty of time left on that clock for Loyola to make some moves here.
And 4-0 after a lead in the 4th quarter is reflective of, number one, good coaching, but having secondarily, it's the players having confidence in what they're doing.
Absolutely. That's Alex Eaton with the ball right now. And I know that it's a really crummy day outside in terms of weather, but Lehigh alumni showing up by the dozens here today for Lacrosse Alumni Day.
Those that have worn brown and white over the years aren't afraid of a little snow, a little cold weather. They're used to those sort of conditions here in Bethlehem.
Absolutely. And I believe that is Reed Weber again, but that is going to be outside of the net, and Loyola will get possession with a little less than 2 minutes on the clock here in this 3rd period. The Greyhounds definitely want to break into their zone and really make some moves at this point with just a little over 1 minute and 30 left to go here in this quarter.
Coach Toomey being very creative here in the 4th quarter with matchups against Reed Weber. He sees Reed Weber of Lehigh as the hot hand for Lehigh's offense. And he's been changing up the lineups of who gets that Reed Weber matchup. Right now it's Ryder Harkins. Earlier it was Huggins. See if it works out well for either Lehigh or Loyola.
And that's going to be John Duffy bringing it in and handing it off to his teammate. And of course, Pat Spencer working his way around once again, and Pat Spencer will bury it for the Loyola goal. 9-8 now in favor of the Mountain Hawks as Pat Spencer evens it up. That's his 2nd of the day today, 20th goal overall for the season for the All-American.
Well, there's that Pat Spencer Chip Telesco matchup. Spencer did a good job of sort of stepping in and out to get Chip Telesco to lunge a little bit. Once he lunged, he really leaned into him with his hands free and let the ball go left-handed. Very few attackmen in the United States are as good as Spencer.
Pat Spencer has 6 multi-goal games coming into today. Of course, now that's his 7th of the season so far for multi-goal games, which is nothing new from someone who is as talented as Pat Spencer.
Among the many talented student athletes here in the Patriot League, among the best conferences in the country, filled with athletes that are among the best in the country.
Loyola wins the face-off, but there's going to be a whistle, which stops their momentum because they were about to drive at that net, and it's going to be a timeout here. 57 seconds left on the clock in this 3rd quarter. We'll be right back with the last minute of action here at Lehigh Loyola Lacrosse. Well, welcome back to Ulrich Sports Complex on this snowy Saturday as Lehigh leads Loyola with 1 minute left to go in the 3rd quarter, 9-8 here today. First off, special welcome to all the fans watching today's Service Electric broadcast on the Patriot League Network. Our next Lehigh broadcast comes your way tonight when the women's lacrosse team hosts Army West Point at 7 o'clock. For more information on the Patriot League Network, visit patriotleague.tv. That's patriotleague.tv. Now, we took a brief timeout here to go with 57.3 seconds on the clock, which is, as we've seen here in this game, a lot of time, considering in the last second of the 1st half, Loyola made this a pretty interesting game, leading 7-6, so anything can happen in this last minute here. Yeah, 57 seconds is a heck of a lot of time for a lot of good things to happen for both teams. So Lehigh defense want to make sure they know what their responsibilities are coming out in a man or a zone or whatever they might come out in, and Loyola players want to make sure they know who they're looking for out of the sets they're trying to run offensively. I imagine Spencer will have something to do with it, although I said that at the end of the 2nd quarter, and he had very little to do with that goal. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. Now, if you're Charlie Toomey, who's in his 11th season coaching at the helm of Loyola Lacrosse, what are you saying to your boys in this huddle here when you're trailing by a goal in the 3rd quarter?
I think he's just trying to script something where he defines who's going to initiate the play, who's going to be able to feed the ball, and who the primary shooter is going to be. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't go as scripted, and something else tends to happen. So everyone has to be ready. Absolutely.
We're going to get started here in just a second as both teams are retaking the field with, like I said before, 57.3 seconds on the clock as Lehigh leads by one goal. They're 4-0 so far this season when they lead after 3 quarters. So obviously, very nice stat for the Mountain Hawks to carry into the 4th quarter, as long as they can fend off this Loyola offense. And here we go. 45 seconds on the clock, and that'll be Romar Dennis, as we talked about before, bringing it in, and Pat Spencer bringing it around the net. And is he going to take the shot? No. No open look for him, and we're just going to keep rolling. 30 seconds now left to go in this 3rd quarter. And Loyola trying, I'm imagining, to take the last shot of this quarter.
Spencer likes this matchup.
Absolutely, and Spencer bringing it around and passing it. Very, very nice look by Brian Sherlock, first off, who fired it. And then, of course, Chris Kiernan making that very nice save. 5 seconds left on the clock with Lehigh leading. That'll be Trip Telesco sending it all the way down. And that's going to be a save by Jacob Stover. And Lehigh will head into the 4th quarter leading by 1 goal. When we come back, we'll have the 4th and final quarter here at this matchup. Welcome back. We're just about to get started here in the 4th and final quarter for Lehigh Loyola men's lacrosse. We're here at Ulrich Sports Complex on this snowy Saturday, and the Mountain Hawks are ahead going into the 4th quarter. Now, obviously, the Patriot League standings are key here today with a whole bunch of action going on. Navy clinching their playoff spot for the Patriot League playoffs with a league record of 5-1. They're very safe, but we have a lot of movement here going on, and especially because Lehigh is ahead, there can be some serious action.
Yeah, the Navy has clinched the #1 spot, as you mentioned. Army 2, Loyola 3, and Lehigh 4. But a lot has to happen here over the last 15 minutes of the 4th quarter, and anything can happen. We could have a flip of that by the end of today. If Lehigh wins, Lehigh jumps to 3 and Loyola to 4. If Loyola wins today, they remain at 3, and Lehigh remain at 4.
Now, of course, we talked about this before off camera, and you and I had discussed the standings. The top 4 get seeded, and then the top 6, of course, will go to the Patriot League playoffs, with the bottom 2 teams kind of fighting it out there in a playoff game.
Yeah, it is sort of a play-in sort of situation, but this all could be a moot point. If Navy's able to beat Colgate today, then everyone seems to make it.
We're getting ready to get started here in the 4th and final quarter. We had talked about that women's game against Army West Point coming up tonight. That's actually has been moved now, and it'll be tomorrow, hopefully not on a snowy Sunday, but it'll be tomorrow at noon. So tune in tomorrow at noon to watch the Lehigh women take on Army West Point. We're getting started here in the 4th and final quarter of this matchup, and Loyola will start off the 4th quarter with possession, and they'll bring it down into their offensive zone. That's Zach Sirico coming down, and Brian Sherlock will receive. Sherlock, of course, has done some damage here, and he was a Patriot League preseason All-Patriot League team member as a junior attack. 14-20 on the board.
Lehigh's defense is going to see a heavy dose of this midi line for Loyola Greyhounds.
And there's Pat Spencer once again. Behind the back of the net, he'll bring it to the front, trying to find a connection. And he does so. And Haywires takes a shot, but cannot seem to capitalize as the ball goes out, and Loyola will maintain possession.
Spencer's such a difficult matchup. He can go right, he can go left equally as well. Good size kid, strong. Has a good explosive split dodge. Very difficult matchup, and if you slide to him, he'll pick you apart with feeds. If you don't slide to him, he'll turn the corner and take his own shot.
And that was Brian Sherlock taking the shot, but it went over the top of the net and out. But once again, Loyola will maintain possession, and Spencer will bring it back in. 13:40 on the clock as Loyola's trying to even up the score here. Lehigh is leading still by 1 goal.
Lehigh's got to be careful and make sure they play defensively, defend those picks as well as they can. Make sure they have the matchups. Make sure they do not allow shots from Loyola's key shooters from key parts of the field. Try to keep them in low angle shots. Give your goalie the best chance to make the saves he's going to need to make.
Loyola maintaining possession here, as that will be Zach Sirico again. Bringing it around.
Lehigh fans demanding the shot clock go on.
And Sherlock will drive, but takes a step back, and We might just see that shot clock going on at some point, as Loyola still has yet to take much action in terms of shooting.
Shot clock is on.
And Pat Spencer turns the ball over, and Trip Telesco.
Fourth ranked cause turnover defenseman in the country. Put the ball down, here he comes.
And we'll take it and drive it in. And, well, beautiful save by Jacob Stover once again. And that was Chris Appel that took that shot, and there's gonna be a timeout on the field, I believe. No, we're good. 12:22 on this clock as Loyola once again picks up possession and brings it down into their zone.
I have to be honest, I have no idea why that whistle was blown and that turnover was created.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure myself, and I figured that you might know. You have a little bit more lacrosse experience, being the head coach here for almost a decade. But if we're both in the black there, then that's okay.
Well, sometimes you can the coaches on the sideline would be a little bit of a tell.
And there we go, All-American Pat Spencer evening up the score here with 11:49 on the clock. Loyola now tied with Lehigh at 9 apiece. And Pat Spencer, that is his second hat trick of the season. That's, of course, his third goal of the game, his 21st goal of the season, and absolutely beautiful goal by Spencer.
Good job coming strong upfield left-handed. Taking that shot off the move, which it's very difficult for a goalie to track the shot, put the ball low, 5-hole. He's in his 11th game of his college career, and he's had at least 2 points in every game that he's played so far in his college career. Gaining a lot of momentum here in the fourth quarter. Sort of silent over the first couple of quarters. Now he's gaining a lot of momentum. It's time for big-time players to make big-time plays. He tied it up, 9-9, 11:49 left.
And Pat Spencer moves into a tie for the most hat tricks for the Greyhounds for the 2016 season. His teammates Zach Haywires and, of course, Jordan Jermishausen also have 2 for the season. So good company there for Pat Spencer to move into. As Loyola once again has possession of the ball, 11:31 on the clock, and I feel as though Lehigh has seen the ball very little in these first couple of minutes here.
Well, Loyola has figured things out at the faceoff. Actually, there was one violation to begin the fourth quarter by Ernst, but since then, Loyola has won the faceoff, and you could tell there's a much more energy on the Loyola sideline right now. They're playing with a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum.
11 minutes, almost exactly, to go in this contest, and Loyola trying to take the lead in this game, but absolutely not. Lehigh will grab possession of that. That's Eddie Buhal.
Dennis trying to get the ball flowing through the Loyola offense out of that split dodge, but Buhal did a great job off ball, snagging that ball out of the middle of the air.
Buhal trying to cut through center field, but instead will decide to pass off to Ian Strain, and Strain will bring it down into Lehigh's offensive zone. Almost 10:30 left to go in this fourth and final quarter, so we're almost a third of the way through here, and Lehigh now needs to regain the lead. And they're certainly going to try here as Matt Raposo and Ian Strain kind of work together here on the left side of the field. Definitely a lot of energy coming up from the crowd. I can hear them through the windows, and I feel bad for them. They're out in the cold and in the elements, but you know, we are tucked away in this nice little press box with windows, but I can hear them coming through. So a lot of energy both on the field and in the stands.
Yeah, a lot of parents, a lot of fans in the stands pulling hard for each of their teams.
And of course it is Alumni Day, so there are some Lehigh Lacrosse alums mixed in amongst the parents and the fans. So that's always a little extra special, I'm sure, for the players on the field.
And this 9:45 left in the fourth quarter, this is exactly what we predicted in the first quarter. This was going to be a one-goal game battle.
Absolutely, that's Alex Eaton driving it in and trying to evade his defender, who is Jared Minslav. And that's Tristan Rye relieving him.
We're going to see which team is in better condition over the course of this season. Who has the freshest legs, the freshest minds, make the right decisions, make the right plays. Matt Raposo's got the matchup he wants. He loves to have a short stick. Tristan Rye is going to move off ball, see if they can find him inside.
And I'm sure, you know, you talk about staying fit and having that endurance factor, but I'm sure that kind of plays a little bit even more of a role here today when it's such crummy weather and things are slippery and you're working a little bit harder to keep yourself warm.
And that last play, typically when you're tired, you get flat-footed. And on the last play, Mastriani was a little flat-footed on that pass. Oppenheim was a little flat-footed on the receipt of that pass. The pass was a little low. Oppenheimer didn't react to it quickly enough. Turnover Lehigh. Ball in the back at Loyola's end of the field.
Zach Haywire's with the ball as less than 9 minutes now to go in this contest as both teams are tied with 9 apiece. This is anybody's game at this point in this fourth and final quarter. So 8:30 now on the clock as Loyola trying to kind of set things up and break through. That's Jeff Chase, and he'll relieve Romar Dennis. And the Greyhounds trying. That's Jeff Chase shooting a sniper shot there, and he will break through, and Loyola will take the lead once again in this contest, 10-9 with 8:19 left to go.
Good job by Chase getting his hands free, using the wet surface. If you shoot a ball with a fair amount of velocity on a wet surface, it may skip, which it looks like it just did. Shooting the ball low to low, getting his feet set, shooting low to low, the ball skips between the 5-hole, between the wickets of Kernan.
That's his second goal of today, 5th overall for the whole season for Jeff Chase, as Loyola once again takes the lead with 8:19 left to go.
Plenty of time.
Absolutely. As far as this game has been going, there's been a lot of crazy things happening, so 8:19 is a lifetime for these two. Loyola getting the ball, and that's, of course, John Duffy, who has also gotten himself on the board once or twice today.
Savio has owned the fourth quarter at the Face-Off X.
Absolutely, and that, of course, is Pat Spencer, who already has a hat trick under his belt. He has scored 4 goals before. That's the individual high for Loyola, and that was 3 times so far this season. And, of course, the last time he did that was at Colgate on April 3rd, so not too terribly long ago that we saw 4 goals from Pat Spencer, but currently he has 3. 7:30 on the clock, and Loyola will maintain possession.
Now 7:30, 1-goal lead, or down 1 goal for Lehigh. That there's plenty of time. 7:30 with a couple goals, that things dramatically change. So Lehigh really wants to defend this well, try to get the ball down, get the ball up and out.
Absolutely, and that's Duffy bringing it in, firing to Spencer, who's waiting in the back of the net, and Spencer's just gonna try to find either a pass or take the shot. He's playing very patiently right now, but we shall see. And it looks as though, yeah, that is definitely going to go out. He definitely tried there. That's Zach Sirico, who was trying to keep the ball in, but Lehigh will now take over on possession with 7 minutes left to go.
Lehigh got exactly what they were looking for there, a turnover, try to put an end to this momentum of Loyola. Now they have to get the ball cleared effectively, get the ball into their offensive end, use their timeouts, use their matchups.
We're now entering we're well past the midway point of this fourth quarter here. It's Alex Eaton battles to bring it into the zone. That's Tristan Rye cutting over to center, and he will connect with Mickey Samaro.
Once you get below that 6-minute mark, things tend to get pretty tense.
Absolutely, that's Ian Strain getting pressured there by Ryan Fournier, but maintains control. Billy Oppenheimer now.
Next goal is big. It's tough to run the clock with 6 minutes and a 2-goal lead, but you can run the clock with 6 minutes left and a 1-goal lead. So both coaches being very, very judicious with their decisions here.
And Kevin Cassis obviously taking your advice without even realizing it, taking a timeout here. Loyola leads by 1 goal with 6:10 left on the clock. We'll be coming back to you with the remaining 6 minutes. Welcome back to Ulrich Sports Complex. Loyola leads Lehigh by 1 goal with 6:10 left to go in the fourth quarter. This game was originally supposed to be played in Goodman Stadium, but unfortunately we had to move it to Ulrich Sports Complex because of the snow. But next Saturday, April 16th, is Community Day as the Lehigh Mountain Hawks take on Cornell at 2:30 in Goodman Stadium, hopefully in front of a nationally televised audience on CBS Sports Network. XTX will have a fan zone set up, and Headstrong Foundation will be in attendance as well. It's also the first whiteout of the year, so wear your white shirts to the game. Tickets are only $5 for the general public and are free for Lehigh students, faculty, and staff with a Lehigh ID. And you can purchase your tickets in advance at lehightickets.com. Now, hopefully, as we had talked about during the break, that we can have that game in Goodman Stadium, because this one was also supposed to be played there, and obviously we're here. And here we can see some face-off action, and Graham Sevilla is just doing an excellent job, absolutely.
Yeah, controlling the move. You try to win the move off the whistle, and then you want to control the possession and the ground ball. And Savio putting the ball to his wingman between his legs. Great coordination by the Loyola Greyhounds.
We're just about to get started here as both teams are taking the field again. Mastriani will start off the remaining 6:10 as soon as he gets a signal from the referee, and there we go.
Okay, next goal is big.
Absolutely. How important is that in terms of momentum with almost 5 minutes left to go in the fourth and final quarter here? How important is scoring this next goal?
Well, it's critical because once you get below 6 minutes, you don't really have a whole lot of time to change momentum. So if Lehigh can get a goal here, tie the game up, that's a whole different situation than being down 2 goals with less than 5 minutes left.
And there's going to be a turnover in front of the net, and Loyola will get possession, just absolutely gunning it down the field there. And that, of course, was Brian Begley. He's been doing a very good job of doing some rushing down into the offensive zone. Officially now, we are almost at the 5-minute mark, 5:25 left to go in this contest in regulation time. Lehigh trails 10-9 on the board, but of course, as we had talked about before, anything can happen, and that's plenty of time with a 1-goal deficit.
Yeah, it's a little tricky situation for Loyola now because they don't want to take the foot off the gas completely, but they have a 1-goal lead, so they don't necessarily need to do anything sort of impulsive and create an opportunity for Lehigh.
Pat Spencer once again behind the net, and he'll bring it around and will try to find an option, and he finds one in Zach Haywires. Those two have been connecting all day long and have clearly been and there we go, I was going to say, have clearly been very productive. And once again, Zach Haywires grabbing a goal here as the Greyhounds take a 2-goal lead, 11-9 now, under the 5-minute mark here today.
Zach Haywires, 6 foot 180 senior, doing a good job. He knows his team needs a goal. A 2-goal advantage with less than 5 minutes left is a whole lot different than a 1-goal advantage. So very opportunistic. Big players make big plays at big moments of big games, and that was a hell of a job by Haywires.
And he absolutely blasted it into the back of the net behind Chris Kiernan here today for Loyola to take a 2-goal lead, and that's his 14th goal of the season, and that is his 3rd of the game. So he also registers a hat trick in this contest, and I believe that's his 3rd of the year in terms of a hat trick. Yes. 17th of his career, 3rd of this season.
Violation at the face-off X by Loyola. 4:45 left, another offensive opportunity here for Lehigh.
Absolutely. There's a reason, though, why Haywires was voted the preseason offensive player of the year, and I think we're seeing that on display here today.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a bull on the offensive end. He's strong enough, and he has a low enough center of gravity where he's always going to get his hands free so he can get his shots off.
4:25 on the clock now. Now, Loyola went on a 4-goal run. How important is that? You know, what is that? Is it better athletes? Is it just the endurance factor coming in here? You know, what, in your opinion, since you are obviously a former coach, you know, what does that entail?
Well, it was aided certainly by the success that Loyola had at the face-off X.
Let's not give them too much credit, though. That's Alex Eaton breaking through here to cut that deficit now to just 1 goal at the 3:55 mark of this 4th and final quarter. Lehigh now only trails by 1.
Alex Eaton, one of Lehigh's better players, getting his hands free. Again, big moment in a big game. Good job getting his hands free, letting that ball rip, offside shot.
And Alex Eaton, that's his 1st goal of the game here today, 13th overall for the season as he finally gets himself on the board. He's been a lot of a playmaker today, but he hasn't gotten himself on the board until just now with 3:55 left on the clock. Lehigh now obviously needing at least one more goal in this game.
Loyola was winning at the faceoff X, and they won a 4-goal run. Lehigh was able to get that last faceoff, and they go on a 1-goal run. So see how critical these faceoffs are. Whichever team has possessions has success.
And Loyola bringing it down into their zone with 3:41 on the clock here.
And right now, Loyola is going to try to go into with 1-goal lead, 3:41 left. They're going to show Lehigh's defense a lot of fake offense, trying to fool the officials that they're actually trying to attack the cage, but they're really not. They're trying to kill as much clock as they can.
3:23 now, speaking of the clock. And that's going to be Jeff Chase, who has a couple for today. And Pat Spencer once again behind the net with Trip Telesco as his matchup. And Jeff Chase will take the shot, but it's blocked. And Lehigh will maybe get possession of that, yes.
Look at Chick go.
And that's Craig Chick bringing it up. And unfortunately, Loyola will grab up the ground ball. But there's still a little bit of a struggle here. This is starting to be a very physical game coming into these last 3 minutes, 2:43 on the clock now.
There's a nice opportunity for Lehigh to get the ball cleared.
And Reed Weber is having some words over there on the side with Foster Huggins. The two of them are just kind of chirping each other a little bit. 2:28 on the clock, and of course, that's Haywire with the ball.
Loyola's just going to try to just kill the clock here. Lehigh's going to have to try to come out and force the issue.
Very vocal crowd here today at Ulrich Sports Complex with almost 2 minutes left to go in this contest. Loyola leads Lehigh 11-10. And Loyola Greyhounds with the possession. As of now, that's Brian Sherlock.
Loyola in their fake offense. Lehigh fans calling for the shot clock.
And we'll see, there's the shot by Zach Haywires, but Chris Kiernan doing a very nice job in net. With 1:44 left to go, Lehigh now is fighting to get out of their defensive zone.
Coach Cassis has timeouts to use.
Now, if you are Coach Cassis in this close of a game, you know, what are you saying to your players, and what are you kind of strategizing about on that sideline with 1:23 left to go? And as you have said, they have plenty of timeouts left, and they're going to take one right now. But as Kevin Cassis, if you were in Kevin Cassis' position by 1 goal against a nationally ranked opponent, what are you going to say to these guys in this huddle right now?
Yeah, again, I guess he wants to try to put his 6 freshest offensive players on the field out of this timeout and give them a look that specifies who's going to initiate the offense, who's going to be distributing the ball through that look, and who are the key shooters at the end of that offensive look, and make sure everyone is aware of their role, and make sure everyone's clear on what their objectives are. Give them the score and the time situation. And if it doesn't work, what are their responsibilities about getting in the hole, because Loyola's going to push the ball.
In the 10-game series histories between these two, Loyola has taken every single matchup with a perfect 10-0 record. The last meeting, of course, was at Loyola last year when they took an 11-8 victory. But the very first matchup was in 1942, so a little bit ago. But they have a perfect streak here. Lehigh looking to break that with their first win over the Greyhounds in program history. They're just trailing by 1 goal with 1 minute and 23 seconds left on the clock. And of course, as we had mentioned before, in the way that this game is going, that's plenty of time.
It's double the amount of time they really need. So Coach Cassis is definitely communicating who has which role out of this minute 23 left, who's going to be the feeder, who's going to be the initiator, who's going to be the shooter, and what options do you have if the initial look doesn't work. But when in doubt, get the ball into the hands of your best players, and hopefully those guys are going to make the big plays.
Loyola, very talented team this year. They entered the Patriot League play as the preseason favorite with 122 points with 12 first-place votes. But of course, we've seen that Navy, who was the second-place vote, has clinched their playoff spot already at the top of the standings. And this can be anybody's game here today as the two teams take the field once again, the remaining 1:23 on the clock. And Lehigh trails by just 1 goal.
Coach Toomey going back to the Huggins matchup against Reed Weber. I imagine over the final 123 left here of the fourth quarter, Reed Weber is going to be involved.
And the crowd is starting to get a little bit antsy as well. And I feel as though they're feeling the energy from the field, and it's kind of reverberating up into these bleachers here at Ulrich Sports Complex as the fans are starting to cheer on both sides. With the remaining minute left on the clock, Lehigh, of course, has possession right now. That's Billy Oppenheimer bringing it around, and is he going to take the shot? No. He's going to outlet behind the net to Reed Weber. Those two have been very dynamic together today so far, and Weber is battling against three. And that is...
Stover has just been unbeatable
absolutely
here today.
And it's hard to believe, as we talked about before, it's hard to believe that he's a freshman coming in here and defending like that for the Greyhounds.
He was as calm as could be on that shot.
I kind of don't want to see that kid when he's a senior, because it only goes up from there. Pat Spencer now once again bringing it around. He's being trailed, I believe, by Aiden Schenk and Telesco with 20 seconds left on the clock, and he's probably just going to run.
I don't know how he still has that ball on the stick.
12.6 seconds left on the clock, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of penalties out of that little skirmish there. And we're going to look at that last save by Jacob Stover, the freshman goaltender for Loyola, just having an incredible game tonight.
He took the right angle on the shooter, was very calm on the shot, saw the ball the whole way. Not only did he make the save, but he created a possession out of it to get the ball cleared for Loyola.
Absolutely, he's doing a fantastic job. He's from Hunt Valley, Maryland, so as we talked about, already in the mood, let's put it that way. It's hard to tell if, yes, Weber is also in the box for the Mountain Hawks, so there's 3 in there for Lehigh. And Loyola, in the final 12 seconds of this game, will take the victory here. And Lehigh now moves to 4-3 overall in league. We are done here at Ulrich Sports Complex on this snowy Saturday. I'm Breland Moore, and for Chris Wakely, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next game.